It's an overcast evening here in Florida. We are here at Sebring International Raceway to bring you the very first event in the J2iRS endurance season. This is race 1 of 12. Like I said, a very overcast, gloomy day, a little bit of wind, and of course, it's Florida. You've got plenty of humidity. Qualifying has just gotten started down on the track. We're going to jump down there now and see who's currently at the top of the leaderboard. And it looks like at the moment we don't have any time set yet. The LMP2 cars are coming around to start their first laps. And of course, some quick information about qualifying. It's 20 minutes, but the first 10 minutes are exclusive for the LMP2 cars, and then they'll get off the track. At the very end of those 10 minutes, the GTE cars will come out and run for the rest of qualifying, which consists of the last half of that 20-minute session. And we have a few times being set on the track now. MBR with the fastest first time around. Then we have Void, Dan, Erco, Cannon Racer, Greg, Smithers, Eat My Dust. DCR puts in a good time. We're looking at Smithers at the moment right now. And here's a look at where these guys are in qualifying. Crazy Sheep's about to put down a pretty good lap here. Comes across the line in 10th. The bars on the bottom of your screen, the yellow, if there's a yellow bar in a sector, that means the driver did not improve on their time in that sector. A green bar means they did set a personal best in that sector of the track, and a purple means they've gone faster than anyone. So you see down there, Void, the first 2 sectors he was on the track, he set a fastest lap or a fastest sector for anyone on the track in sectors 1 and 2. But the next 3 sectors, they haven't even been personal bests. So he may not end up improving on that 46.9 if he continues to have those yellow sectors in the last 2 parts of the track. He is currently running behind MBR on track. MBR is about to come around, and he's at a mixed lap. We'll see if he ends up improving on his time. It is going to come across as a 46.5. He does improve. Void comes in behind him with a 46.8. Very slight improvement, but not enough to catch up to MBR. Erco goes 3rd fastest now with a 47 dead. That pushes Dan down into 4th, but still on that 2nd row. A couple other racers coming in now. Greg sets a time that puts him in 6th, but only for a moment. Then it's Cannon Racer who jumps immediately ahead of him. And DCR jumps into 8th now. Four minutes left in the qualifying for the LMP2 cars. Crazy Sheep just set a lap, did not improve his position on the track. MBR has 4 yellow sectors on this lap he's running right now. Not sure that he's going to be able to improve this one. Rocky just came across. Looks like he did not improve there. MBR coming up to Le Mans. Just one more corner after that, the Sunset Bend, and then we'll see if he can improve on his time. It's not looking too good for him at the moment. Boyd has 1 purple sector and a green sector. He has a chance to improve slightly. He needs 3.5 tenths to push MBR off provisional pole. Then behind them are Erco and Dan. Dan's on a pretty good lap right now. MBR's going to come across the line right now, and that is a 148.2. Definitely not an improvement. Void comes across just behind him. Does not improve. However, Erco does, and so does Dan. So both of them improve just enough to push Void from 2nd all the way to 4th. Very tight battle in the top 4 for those first 2 rows. A little on further back, you have Nicolator, who is MBR's teammate. He comes across the line, and this lap looks like it's going to improve. It does improve, but not his position. That probably solidly puts him in 5th place, though. It looks like NBR has pulled off, and in the pits, probably will not be coming back out. No one else improving on their lap times at the moment. Crazy Sheep comes across the line. This lap not looking like it's going to improve. Rocky just came across the line, and he does improve his time. He jumps up into 10th place, and that's Rocky right there in the number 22. Just breaching the top 10. Void is currently on a solid lap. 2 green sectors in a row. Let's go on board with Void now. Coming up to the Sunset Bend, and he just set a purple sector. This could be a great lap for Void. He needs 3.5 tenths to jump onto provisional pole. He crosses the line, and it's another purple sector, and he just misses pole by 5/100ths of a second, and Erco jumps him again. They are all within 5/100ths of each other in the top 3, and Dan does not improve his time. So he does have one more chance at a lap. The top 3 have all pulled into the pits. This is Dan's last chance to throw himself into the top 3. Eat My Dust just set a nice lap, pushing him into 6th position, just shy of Nicolator's mark. And Smithers just came out of the 150s and jumped into 12th over Crazy Sheep. Dan is coming around turn 8 now. Still a ways to go on this lap. We have Rocky about to come around and set another lap. He and Crazy Sheep are coming off the Sunset Bend. I don't think Crazy Sheep's going to improve, but Rocky has a solid chance too. Let's see what this time ends up being. And it is a pretty solid improvement. He jumps all the way up into 7th position on the leaderboard. That is a great final lap from the 22 car. And it looks like Dan screwed up his last lap. We came in right there as it looked like he may have spun or come to a stop. So that ends his chance at getting into the top 3. So that is your starting grid for the LMP class. NBR, Erco, Void, and Dan in the front 2 rows. And then you have Nicolator, Eat My Dust, Rocky, Cannon Racer, DCR, and Orbits rounding out the top 10. Greg, Smithers, and Crazy Sheep finish up the field. The GTEs are on the track now. There's still a couple of LMPs finishing up their laps. They're all on the Omen straight now. If they are off pace, I imagine they'll be pulling into the pits here pretty quickly. Let's see who is leading the GTEs out onto the track. We're looking at Colton Wayne Racing right here. We have quite a few GTEs on track now. This field is 22 cars, I believe. Just under twice the size of the LMP field. Still looking at Colton Wayne Racing here. We're just waiting for these guys to come across the start-finish line and start their first laps. There's a lot of bullets. He's coming around the Sunset Bend now to start his lap. That's Notaven in the Corvette leading the field to the line to start this qualifying session for the GTEs. Behind a lot of bullets, we have, that is Captain CK, I believe. Whoa, we got a car going way off track there. That's Mike Costello. So this qualifying lap is not going to count. If you go off track, your lap time is invalidated. Got to come back around and try again. Behind him, we have Mr. Elaine, all purple Porsche. A little further down the field, we're looking at Kelford here in the BMW, easily the biggest car on the track. And in the Porsche, it's Long Island Nerd. Sectors behind them in what I believe is the only 4GT in the field. Be interesting to see how that one shakes out. Jazz Cabbage is also on track behind them. We're looking at Rue-Meister here in the red, white, and blue, number 21 BMW. And then we have, that is Colton Wayne Racing we're looking at there. And then Ace 22 of BDS Racing, his teammate Tom Lowe, is sure to be one of the favorites to win the GTE class today. Let's jump over to Nodaven because he is currently on his first lap. He has a lot of purple sectors, but this is the first lap of qualifying, so it could just be that he was the first one through those sectors. A lot of bullets, has quite a few green sectors there compared to his out lap. Despite people coming around this track, Nodaven continues to hold on to those purple sectors, so this may actually be quite a flyer. Coming around the final corner, the number 128 sets the lap time, and it is a 1:57. And 6/100ths, and a lot of bullets comes across the line, 2/10 shy of that. We're going to see a couple more cars come across here. Captain, Mystery Lane, Costello, we got Kelford, Long Island Nerd, Sector. Lots of cars setting times now, and no one's getting close to what not even set here. Sector jumps up in the third with a 57.8. Sector's having to let a car through here, so that will slow him down in his next lap. Ace goes 5th fastest. Bay goes 4th fastest. There's Bay right there. And then number 28. Biker Pilot, 6th fastest. And JWL goes on the provisional pole, 5/100ths faster than the number 128. And then Tonlo goes 3rd fastest. So this top three all separated by just over 1/10 of a second. A lot of bullets isn't that much further behind them. He's another 10th out. There's a lot of bullets right there, the 34. AJ just set his first time. That's a 57.7. Bob Nova just came across the line, and it looks like his lap was invalidated as he does not go on the leaderboard. We're about to see another lap here from the Night Racing Corvette. A couple of green sectors, but behind him, it's a lot of bullets with a very good looking lap. And then behind him, Captain CK, who did not set a lap due to his previous one being invalidated, does have a purple sector in his lap. These three come across the line. Let's see where they go. No improvement from the first two. Captain goes 4th fastest. He is just 2/10 off the leader. Mike Costello sets a lap, goes 10th fastest. Mystery Lane not able to improve. Long Island Nerd about to come across the line. He is not going to improve either. A little less than 4 minutes remaining in qualifying. We're not seeing too much improvement from these guys right now. Bay just came across the line and he was 9/10 off his previous lap. Biker Pilot just improved. He jumps Costello, goes to 10th. And Tom Lowe, there it is. This is why he's, I think, the favorite to win today. Comes across the line 3/10, almost 3/10 faster than anyone else on the track. The only driver to get into the 156s in this GTE field so far. JWL is going to have to really push to try and beat that time. He's coming around a hairpin corner. That's turn number 7 right now. And the 619 has a lot of work to do. Bob Nova just finally set his first lap. He goes 12th fastest. Solid showing from the number 31. A couple more cars about to come across. Once again, the Night Racing Corvette around the final corner. And looks like he was off pace. He's going to come to a stop, and he might call it a day. He could come out for another stint. He does have just enough time left, but he'd have to be fast. And it does look like he's going to come out and start again on fresh tires. Captain just, that last lap was 0.8 off his best, so no improvement there. Long Island Nerd has a purple sector in the first sector. Coming around to finish this lap up. He's currently in 14th. And he does improve, jumps Mystery Lane, and just by 3/1000ths of a second. Kelford sets a lap, going 16th fastest. With these GTE cars, you see this track getting very busy now. Bay just went 6th fastest, a great 57.6. He did get across the line fast enough to do another lap. Of course, if you get across the line before the 20-minute mark, you can finish whatever lap you're on. So these drivers do still have plenty of time to do another lap unless they have just started their lap. And it looks like Mike Costello has just gone off track. That will be it for him in this qualifying. We're looking at a couple other guys who might be improving. AJ has a lot of green sectors on this lap. He's currently in 7th, just a 10th behind Bay. Can he get into the 6th position? Yes, he does jump Bay by just over a 10th of a second. He jumps onto the 3rd row as a result. 30 seconds left in the session now. I believe only the cars, look at the track map. No one past position 8 is going to be able to do another lap, and possibly not even 8 through a sector. And sector does stop on the track. So Captain coming around now along with that Night Racing Corvette. He does have a purple sector there. Let's see what these two do. Captain is going to not improve. Neither of them improve. So that top 4 is looking pretty set. We have just crossed the 20-minute mark. Both these guys can go for another lap, and it looks like they are staying full throttle for the moment. Everyone behind them, however, I believe it is done. Mystery Lane is still driving. We'll see if he comes up here. I'm not sure if he got across the line in time. We'll see if he comes up along the bottom here as he gets deeper into the lap. Brewmeister about to come across the line for the final time. Behind him is Biker Pilot. Both those cross the line, and neither improve. Colton Racing about to come across the line. He has a chance to improve here. 4 green sectors. McMurk comes across at the same time, and Colton does improve. Jumps Jazz Cabbage for 19th instead of 20th. And Ace about to come around for the final time. He does improve. He jumps Biker Pilot by a little less than a 10th. AJ does not improve his position. So now it's down to Captain, and Biker Pilot. I believe that is an error. Biker Pilot, I do not think is going to be able to finish that lap. Got a mix of green sectors from the 50 and purple sectors from the 128. Let's see how these guys do as they come around Sunset Bend. And do either of them improve? Can either of them jump onto the front row at the last second? Yes, they both jump JWL. And that shakes up that front row and the top 4 at the very last second. I'm going to go ahead and focus in on Biker Pilot here, because it does seem like he's being allowed to finish this lap. So it does not look like it is going to be any kind of improvement. So he comes across the line, and qualifying is officially done with here at Sebring. MBR will lead the LMP field to the green flag. And Tonlo will lead the GTEs. A quick look at the overview of today's race. Again, overcast. The track will be pretty cool. 27 degrees Celsius. 81% humidity. It'll be a little slick, but not too bad. It's a bumpy track anyway. So slipperiness is going to be the least of these drivers' worries. 90-minute race sponsored by Orbit's Jupiter. And the first race of 12 on the endurance calendar. Here's your starting lineup for today's race. MBR and Erco hold the front row in the LMP field. And then it's Void, Dan, Nick, Eat My Dust, Rocky, Cannon, DCR, Orbits, Greg, and Smithers in the top 12 there. Then Crazy Sheep rounds out the LMP field. Then in the GTEs, it is Tonlo on pole. Then Nodovan in second, just 23 100ths of a second off of pole. Captain and JWL make up the second row. Then Lotta Bullets, AJ, Bay, Sector, Bob Nova, Ace. They make up your top 10 in the GTE field. Then you have Biker Pilot, Costello, Longner, Mystery Lane, McMurk, Brewmeister, Kelfer, Jordan, Colton, and Jazz. Lots of Space Sheep Racing drivers back half of the teams. And Slug, Artups, and Cherokee Fair did not qualify. They could still grid. We will see. They have not yet started gridding. Or I'm sorry, they have not yet started pacing, though it looks like they're about to. Looking at the bottom of the screen, we're seeing cars in pit lane. Colton, Wayne, and Jazz Cabbage are going to start from the pits if they do come out. They were already close to the bottom of the field, so that won't be too much trouble for them. The GTE cars will leave a gap, about a 10-second gap, and then the GTE cars will take the green flag when they come around to the front straight. When they exit the pits, it'll be on the green flag, so they will have to wait for the GTE field to pass them. I'm sure they will incur a penalty. Fairly long pace lap here at Sebring. What's at stake here? Well, this is a 90-minute race. Not a crown jewel race. The crown jewels, there's 2 in the season. Those are worth more points. But still, the 90-minute race, it is worth 35 points, the winner of each class. You get a bonus point for pole position. So NDR, Conlo, they both racked in a point. And then fastest lap will also net the driver of each class a point. And you must finish at least 50% of the laps to get full points. And if you DNF, you will get half points. So very much, these drivers are very much encouraged to take it all the way to the end. Got fast repairs, so wreck, it's not the end of the world. You guys can definitely get it repaired and then go ahead and drive to the end. Good points, good racing. The LMP cars are coming out of Bishop, about to lead us to the green flag. It's MBR and Erco on the front row. And on that second row, we shouldn't forget that second row is made up of teammates. That is Void and Lieutenant Dan on Arc Send It. I expect them to be working together here to try and get past Erko and MBR at the start of the race. Whichever one gets in front of the other, perhaps they will just sort of fall in line if they can and try and catch the leaders. MBR's teammate Nicolator is sitting back there on the third row in 5th position, so he can provide some aid to his teammate as well if he holds on to the back end of the leaders. In the GTE field, Tonlo's teammate sitting down in 10th, so they're a bit separate. No teammates together here. It'll be a bit more chaotic up at the front of that field. Safety car pulling off now. MBR will lead us to green here in Season 5 of the J2iCS and Season 1 of the J2i Endurance Series. Here we go. MBR leads them into turn 1. Erko immediately challenged by Void, and Void might get this position. They're side by side. We got a spin in the back, and it does look like Void is going to be able to take Erko. So a quick gain of position there for Void. Erko slips into 3rd position. Now Tonlo leads the GTEs off. Donovan holds on to 2nd here, but only just. Captain is still right there, and we have JWL, one of the top qualifiers, going around and off track. He's going to slide all the way to the back of this field. So Tonlo leads the GTEs off, and they are lining up pretty well now. MBR solidly in the lead of the LMPs. Behind him, you got a lineup. It's Void, Erko, and Lieutenant Dan, 2, 3, and 4. And the Nicolator is holding on to the tail end of them in 5th. An incident has caused Orbits to jump all the way up into 6th. We'll go back and look at these lap 1 incidents after things have calmed down. But for now, we're going to stick with the action live as it is. Back to the GTE field. Tonlo under a lot of pressure from these cars in the back. They're actually sticking with him pretty well. AJ promoted to 4th position after JWL spun. And he's holding on to the tail end of those leaders fairly well so far. It will take a good 4 or 5 laps, maybe a little more than that for the LMP cars to catch the GTEs and have to start working through traffic. In the meantime, it is clear running for MBR. 2 minutes into this one, and he has opened up his lead to 1.5 seconds. Void is pulling away from Erko and Dan. Erko holding up Dan here. But Dan has not been able to get around him. And this is also helping out Nicolator, who is just behind him. Both of them eager to get around and help their respective teammates, battling for 2nd and 3rd at the moment. Tonlo just got passed by Donovan, and it is the Night Racing 128 Corvette into the lead. And we are going to go back and take a look at this pass. Made it look easy, coming down the Ullman straight, and he kind of backs up into Tonlo to keep him behind him coming down the next straight. It's a great move, and it is the lead. He is still in the lead. Captain CK sitting back there hoping maybe he can capitalize on this somehow. He is 7/10 of a second back from Tonlo, but you don't want these guys to start pulling ahead. You have another pack of GTEs back here. It's Costello, Bob Nova, Mystery Lane. These guys are leading up in the battle for 8th. Bob looks for a move there, but he's not going to be able to get it. We're going to jump back to the LMP field. Erko running in 3rd, Dan in 4th. They are still fighting here, coming around the Sunset Bend. And Dan get a run on him coming down this straightaway. Erko blocks him to the right. Dan is not going to be able to make a move going into the first corner. Bob Nova just got around Mike Costello, and Mystery Lane may capitalize as well. Yes, he does. He goes through. Costello's going to try and come back at him here, though. Into the sunset bend. And he does have him. Mystery Lane goes really wide, and he's going to let a couple other guys at him here. That's Biker Pilot just behind him, and now he's going to have to defend that position. Very tight racing in the middle of that GTE field. Erko still has not let Lieutenant Dan by him, but Rocky did just get past Cannon Racer, and he is moved up into 8th. And Cannon Racer also just got passed by Eat My Dust. Oh, and it looks like he's going to go around. A good save. Popping over the curb. Maybe a little bit of floor damage. These cars are very susceptible to that. But he does continue on racing. Let's go back and take a look at some of what happened on the first lap here. There were a couple of events that happened. We're going to start with Crazy Sheep. We're going to have to back this one up just a little bit. This actually was not Crazy Sheep. This was the number 24 of Eat My Dust. Not sure if he gets clipped. Oh, it looks like he runs into the back of Rocky here. No, he actually just loses it all on his own. And, yep, that collects a couple of cars there, including the 3 that is Erko's teammate, ECR, the other member of Bong Life. And now we're going to look at what happened to JWL. Oh, he just got too much of the inside of the track. Went around on his own. Donovan is still in the lead here at the GTE field. Captain is falling off, so it looks like it's going to be these two battling for the lead for now. Erko has held off Dan pretty well here. Dan has now fallen back, and he's at risk of getting passed by Nicolator, who has been on his tail this entire time. Let's jump to another close battle. Looking at Bay and Long Island Nerd. Nerd had a shot at him, but wasn't able to finish it off. Currently coming up to turn number 7, the hairpin, as that field spreads out a little bit now. Looking at AJ here, he's fallen off a bit from Captain, but very solidly in 4th and a part of that lead pack of the GTEs. NBR has extended his lead to 2.2 seconds in the LMP field. Meanwhile, JWL has just passed McMurk as he slowly works his way back through this GTE field to hopefully make some kind of recovery drive here. Let's check in on another close battle. Biker Pilot just got past Mystery Lane coming into Bishop. Mystery Lane looks like he just kind of backed off for that one. That is going to put him at risk of being passed by Slug here. And Slug is closely followed by Bay. These guys all driving very closely together as they come around onto the Ullman Straight. And Slug is going to have a shot going into the Sunset Bend. Gonna look right. He's alongside Mystery Lane. Bay sitting here, maybe looking for an opportunity as they go side by side. And Slug's going to finish the pass. Mystery Lane is a little wide. Bay may have had a pretty good run out of that corner. Let's see if he can capitalize. Does not look like he's going to be able to. A little bit further off of Mystery Lane. So Slug goes into 9th. Despite not qualifying, he's now worked his way all the way up through the GTE field into the top 10. Very impressive. Bay sitting behind Mystery Lane. We'll check back in on this in a minute. Let's jump back to the leaders. This gap is still just under half a second. Cannon Racer has just gotten around Eat My Dust for the 9th position in the LMP field, but Eat My Dust trying to come back at him side by side. He's got his nose in there just slightly. He's going to go really wide. Oh, that may have been a mistake. Yeah, he loses a lot of time there, and that is not going to work out for Eat My Dust. Jumping back to Bay and Mystery Lane. They're currently going through Collier. That's turn 11. Somewhat complex section here. You can technically pass going into this turn 13 tower, but I wouldn't recommend it in these cars. He's just trying to stay as close to Bay as, Bay is trying to stay as close to Mystery Lane as possible. In front of them, Slug is outpacing Biker Pilot at the moment, and he does have a chance to pass here. Oh, goes really wide there, maybe a little loose in the corner, and that is going to open the door for Mystery Lane and Bay. These four, definitely the tightest battle on track thus far. The LMP field is now starting to catch the GTE field. You see Boyd here having to go around one of the GTE cars, that is Kelford, that he's had to pass. So these guys now running into traffic. Slug going on the inside of Biker Pilot here. This is for 8th, going into turn number 1, and he does get it. Next up is Mike Costello there in 7th position. Can Mystery Lane capitalize on this? These three Porsches all running very closely, and a very bold move by Mystery Lane. He gets the job done on the 42. And he is into 9th. Now can Bay follow them? The Biker Pilot lose another position here. Bay couldn't really find a way around him, had to kind of back out, but he might have another chance here. He's going to go around the outside into the hairpin, and he does clear him before they even get to the hairpin. So Biker Pilot, over the course of about 1 lap, loses 3 positions, gliding all the way back to 11th. And JWL is off track again. And he has to restart his recovery drive. He had made it back to 13th, and now he has slid to 15th, and even further behind this field. Let's see if we can take a look at what happened here. He's just running on he's running on his own. And, oh, it just gets loses under braking. That was very strange. He didn't even touch the grass. Barely avoided the tire barrier there. Very lucky. He did not destroy his car on that. NBR still leads the LMP field, but Void is keeping that gap down to just 9/10 of a second. They're working through some GTE traffic here. That's the number 21 of Brewmeister. They're passing on the Ullman Straight. We're currently on lap 7. We're looking at the pit window for these cars to be in between laps 16 to 21 for both classes. I expect them to both pit twice today, so just a matter of when these guys want to pit, what works strategically best for them. Do you want to go for the undercut, the overcut? I think for NBR at the moment, he can just kind of react to whatever Void does, assuming Void does not get too close to him. As they work through this traffic, Void has closed the gap to 4/10, and now he's going to get really slowed up by Sector here. Now Void is right on NBR's tail. And Void's going to be able to pass him in a very advantageous spot here. He's going to be able to stay close to NBR. And something, Bay has just momentarily gotten past Mike Costello for 8th. He now slides back into 9th. These two still battling for this position. Ace just went around Brewmeister for 16th, and it looks like Brewmeister went off track. We'll take a look at this. He had just gotten passed by Nicolator, and he almost destroys the LMP2 with that big body BMW. Locks it up under braking and almost goes directly into the number 5, and kind of blocks Rocky there. Very tough place to rejoin, though. Oh, and Costello's just gone off as we come back from the replay. That was quite a slide, and we're going to go back and see what happened here. Bay running behind him. Is there contact, or does he just kind of lose it? He does just lose a good save, though. A really good save. Gonna lose a lot of positions there, though. He is now back in 12th. He now gets passed by the LMP leaders around the Sunset Bend. Battle for 3rd and 4th in the LMP class. Still running pretty hot. Dan has not been able to get around Erko, but he is keeping up with him. And this gap has not changed that much over the course of this entire race. Another LMP battle. Eat My Dust and Cannon Racer. Cannon Racer's been working Eat My Dust for a while. And it looks like he is now going to be able to get by him. Coming down into turn 1. Side by side. Eat My Dust is the inside, but that may not work for him here. And a great pass by Cannon Racer. He goes up into 9th. And Sector just got passed. Ooh, Biker Pilot just got passed by a couple people here. And LMP traffic, this is very tight. That's the 26 of Orbits and Rocky in the 22. They're battling for 6th in the LMP class. They're kind of interrupting this battle for 13th in the GTEs. That allows JWL to get back into 13th. Now these two, Orbits and Rocky, are very close together. Now they got to get around JWL, and Rocky's not going to make the dive. And that allows Orbits to get away pretty scot-free here. Orbits holds on to that 6th position. And Dan is making a move on Void, or he's making a move on Erko, sorry. And Erko is going to let him go ahead and go by. As they come onto the Ullman straight, Erko's going to have a shot at a comeback here, though. Side by side. Erko may have him coming into the Sunset Bend. Here they come. Their noses are right alongside each other. It looks like Erko has to back out just slightly, and Dan is going to come out ahead in 3rd. Now here's what's going to be interesting. Can Dan pull away from Erko here? Or are they actually still the same pace? This is going to go on for quite a while. We'll see over the next couple of laps. Checking in on 3rd and 4th in the GTE field. Captain has been having to fend off AJ pretty much his entire race. They've both been on very similar pace. AJ showing a lot of speed during this race, being able to keep up with Captain and hold on to that 4th position. And they've put over 8 seconds on a lot of bullets in this race. And we have a couple drivers in the pits. Looks like the LMPs are starting potentially. Eat My Dust and Cannon Racer both go in. Biker Pilot is in for the GTEs. And Eat My Dust comes off out of the pits way earlier than Cannon Racer. Cannon Racer might have taken tires. And tires are possibly not an essential thing for these LMP cars. You may see some LMP drivers not take tires at all today. Our 2 pit stops. Cannon Racer's been in there quite a while now. I'm not sure if this is even just tires. Perhaps it's a penalty. He's either serving a penalty or he has just had to leave the car. Nobody else has come down pit lane yet. The LMPs are about to catch the GTE leaders. You see back there, Void working around AJ and Captain. This may give AJ a little bit of a chance. Maybe compromise Captain's line into turn 1. Doesn't look like it. And MBR just set the fastest lap of the race on his last lap of 1:47.49. Absolutely crushing it. Long Island Nerd has checked into pit lane. He's the 2nd GTE to come down. Go ahead and grab pit stops on the screen so you can keep track of who has stopped and who hasn't. Some of the drivers who started from pit lane do have a stop on there, but that does not mean they have actually stopped yet in this race. For example, Slug, who for some reason the leaderboard is showing 5 stops there. That is definitely not the case. Let's check again on these GTE leaders, since the LMP leaders are working around them. Conlo has been trying to get around Donovan this entire time and just cannot. Dan goes around the outside there, does not give Tomlo any sort of window to make the pass, so he stays back there. Biker Pilot on pit road for the GTEs as well. We're seeing them slowly start to trickle in. What's interesting is it's only lap 11. They're pitting really early here and are at risk of having to make an extra third pit stop at the end of the race. So I'm not sure why these guys are pitting exactly. Perhaps it's heavy damage. I'm not entirely sure. Something just happened to Crazy Sheep and Sector. Could this be our first coming together between an LMP and a GTE car? Let's go back to where Sector goes off track here. I'm going to go backwards here a moment. Ooh, it looks like there may have been contact. Yeah, Sheep does nudge him. Sector goes flying off track. Sheep's able to keep a pretty good hold on the car. Sector has to come back on and lost a couple of positions. That puts Ace right back on his tail. PCR is now on pit lane. That's an LMP coming down pit road. Number 3, Arco's teammate on Long Life Motorsport. Another seemingly early pit stop here. Be interesting to see how this plays out. We're only 20 minutes into this one. Perhaps they are going for a pretty big undercut here, cutting it really close on fuel to the end, but maybe they think they can do it. Here's that battle we were looking at. Sector came back on track and now is under pressure from Ace, who is a little under half a second behind. Dan and Erko working their way through a lot of LMP traffic, and it has allowed Nicolator back there to come back at them, and he is now just half a second off of Erko, and now he is really close to them as they work through these GTE leaders, though looks like Nick got blocked by the leader, not even there, and he's going to lose what time he had made up. But as you see, none of the leaders in either class have pit. We haven't seen anyone major come in. JWL pitted, and Nerd just finished his second pit stop. Nicolator still holding on to this 0.6 of a second gap to Erko. This traffic is going to really help him stay in this battle. If he can snag a 4th or even 3rd, that'd be really helpful for that team. Nick Squared, NBR, barring some disaster, will certainly end up at least on the podium. So having 2 drivers up there will be great points for them in the team standings. A couple of teams here have a good chance at a double podium. NBR and Nicolator for Nick Squared. Void and Dan of Arc Sended, they both have a chance at a double podium. So those are the 2 teams to watch out for here deeper into the race. Not so much the case in the GTE field. These teams are much more spread out. Not even Combo, Captain, those are your top 3 at the moment. AJ's fallen off a bit from Captain. He runs sort of on his own now. In fact, something may have happened to AJ because a lot of Bullets has gained a lot of time on him. Not seeing anything here that I may have missed something. We are going to go back. AJ did go off track a little while ago. Oh, he had a big moment. Oh no, this is contact from Dan. He didn't think Dan would go for the move. He moves over and you just, that's hard to assign blame. As a GTE car, you want to be predictable. You want to take your normal driving line, and maybe Dan thought that AJ was letting him have it. Hunted him instead. Doesn't lose any positions, but causes damage to, possibly damage to the front end of Dan's car, and definitely hurts AJ's tires. We're going to check in on why Long Island Nerd and Jazz Cabbage both pitted early. They actually both had crashes. This is Long Island Nerd's incident. Oh, Jazz Cabbage actually just ran him over, unfortunately. Not sure if that was a lockup or what. but heavy damage to both cars, and that would be why they pitted early. We're going to check, Jordan Beck also had an incident. It's the number 3 DCR going around him. He goes really wide. Oh, I can't do that. A little bit of snap oversteer. Just a spin though. Nothing too bad. Going to come back to the live race. No more pit stops yet from these lead cars. But MBR is pulling this gap further and further on void, 3.6 seconds as the sun continues to set. Not that we have seen it at all today, but it is setting behind the very cloudy sky we have here in Florida. That gap to void is now almost 4 seconds, and Dan has now a 0.8 of a second gap on Erco. Let's go through this GTE field a little bit. Donovan and Tonlo, 1 and 2. They've been 1 and 2 for quite a while now. And Tonlo just hasn't been able to find a way around the night racing Corvette there. Been a great job by the leader to hold him off this entire race. And perhaps Tonlo maybe holding back a bit, saving tires, waiting for pit stops, but it certainly looks like he can't get by him on merit here, just at a moment's glance. Captain running in third. He's been by his lonesome for a while now, ever since AJ left him. And it's been a pretty smooth going race for Captain. Avoided the carnage at the start and holds on to third at the moment, and barring any major incidents during pit stops, he's in a very good position for a podium. AJ has some work to do if he wants to get on that podium in that Porsche, running in fourth after getting a little tap from, I believe it was Dan, LMP2. Looks like he has a little bit of front left damage, excuse me. Could be slowing him down a bit on the straights, and that would be a worry if Slug is catching up to him, which Slug was a little under 0.3 of a second faster than him on his last lap. Slug running in fifth. He started in, I believe, 22nd or 21st officially. Did not qualify, started from the pits, and is now running in fifth position. And he has the pace. Remember, we have a little over an hour left. This is a dark horse candidate for a podium here. He is running faster than second, third, and fourth. Only Donovan is currently faster than Slug on track. Lotta Bullets is just behind him, 1.2 seconds. Slug recently passed him for the fifth position. Lotta Bullets has run a pretty clean race so far. Stayed out of the incidents early. And holding on to that top 10. Bob, Nova, Bay, and Costello running behind. And, whoa, looks like we're having some technical difficulties here. All right, it looks like we're back. That was a very strange little bit of internet hiccup. Now we're looking at the leader of the LMP field, that is MBR in the number 10. 6.4 second gap. He has been absolutely torching void these last couple laps. Let's take a look at those previous lap times right now. Look at this. 0.4 of a second, 1.3 seconds, 1.3 seconds. He is pulling away from the number 1. And we look at how this delta has grown over the last few laps. I mean, look at that jump. Not sure what has happened to Void, but he's definitely fallen off pace a good bit here. Checking in on Dan. Here's his delta to Erco. You see it rising and falling as they work their way through traffic, but overall he has not been able to lose the number 33 in the battle for third. Let's go on board with Erco now. Two things you can see from these onboards. One, just how dark it's getting, and two, just how bumpy the track is. I'm seeing now, ooh, we have a couple things going on. A lot of bullets actually just got past Slug for the 5th position. But he may have been slowed down by AJ, who went off track. So we're going to go back and take a quick look at this. I do think Slug had to slow down for AJ. He loses it, comes back on the track. Oh, and Slug runs right into him. AJ really had nowhere to go to rejoin there. I just don't think Slug was ready to see him as he came back on track. Let's see if we can see this from Slug's point of view. I'm not sure. He probably could have gone to the right there. I'm not sure if he expected AJ to go even further right or what, but kind of a freeze and a panic causes some front end damage to that Corvette. And now Slug is completely around, and his drive from the back of the field to the front has just hit a huge snag. Pit stops are coming up soon. He will have a chance to repair. Oh, and he's just pulled off there. And that is the end of his day. Let's take a look at what happened. Behind a lot of bullets going into turn number 1. Very close to it. Oh, and he spins them around, and that sends both of them going. A lot of bullets is able to quickly get back on track. And that may be why Slug retired. Combination of damage and spinning out a lot of bullets there. Unfortunate end to his day. It was a great drive. Let's jump back to the front of the LMP field. That gap has no longer, it's not been growing like it was earlier. Void's still 6.4 seconds back. Closest battle in the LMP field right now is Orbit's, holding 9/10 of a second over Rocky. He's behind Cannon Racer right now, going around him. That is actually a lapped LMP car. So that 22 of Rocky back there is trying to chase down Orbit's for 6th. That is your battle. So with Slug being taken out of the race, we have a lot of GTE drivers being promoted to position. A lot of bullets in 5th. A lot of bullets in 4th. Because AJ had gone off, and AJ went ahead and took the chance to pit. So AJ back in 10th. That puts Bob in 5th, Bay in 6th. Take a look at our leaders. Still no change here. I think they're very content with there being no change until we hit pit stops. Don't expect there to be any major moves here until these guys implement some kind of pit strategy. We should be seeing pits coming up fairly soon for these guys. A lot of guys pushing this one pretty long. And now Sector does come down pit lane. He was running in 9th. He is the 2nd GTE to pit out of the guys who had not wrecked yet. If you count AJ, I believe he took his little spin as an opportunity to go ahead and take the pit stop, get the fast repair, get the car fixed up. So Sector in, but no other GTE cars yet. And now we see McMurk go ahead and come down pit lane. He has a little bit of front end damage. We'll get that repaired. He was running in 11th. And Sector comes out. Definitely did not take tires. I believe the GTE cars will probably need to take tires the second time around. They're a bit rougher on them than the LMPs, but we'll see. We'll see how long these guys take to make their pit stops later in the race. We're checking in on Eat My Dust here. The LMP field, running in 9th, very much by his lonesome. Crazy Sheep 3.7 seconds behind him. And now Nodovin comes into pits, one of the GTE leaders down pit road, and Captain is going to follow him in that Fanatec Porsche. So that leaves Tonlo all alone in 1st. Will the undercut work for that Night Racing Corvette? Will Tonlo go ahead and try and stay out a little bit longer? Not sure how these guys are on fuel. We'll see how long they can stretch it. But a lot of the GTE field is coming down pit road now, so I assume we're pretty close to the end of these gas tanks. A lot of bullets on pit road. Bob, Bay, entire top 5, except for Tonlo, is in. Costello down pit lane. Will Mystery Lane also pull in? Yes. Basically, the entire top 10 of the GTEs has pitted or are on pit lane, except for Tonlo. Tonlo having to have he's getting his line compromised through that corner by the 86 of Crazy Sheep. He's coming into pit now. He needs this in lap to be blazing fast. No more LMP traffic behind him to worry about. AJ reclaims 4th position, so his spin did not hurt him all that much, as he is right back behind Captain, 13 seconds back. Bob comes out in 5th, Bay in 6th. A lot of bullets. Oh, he spun on pit road. He definitely took tires. He had a longer pit stop, but he also spins trying to leave pit road, and that's going to cost him a lot of time. Tonlo's coming around the Sunset Bend now. Does he pull onto pit lane, or does he try and stretch it one more lap? No, he whips it down onto pit road. And now all eyes on the 128. Nicolator in the LMPs is just behind him, but he'll pass him on the Ullman straight, so this will be a very good outlap for Nodovan. Can he get by Tonlo again, or does the overcut work? Let's see what the gap is. And remember, he did not take tires. Tonlo, we're about to see if he takes tires or not. Now we're seeing an LMP come down pit road. That is Case Smithers. Tonlo did not take tires. His pit stop was 0.7 of a second longer. Here comes the 128. It's going to be close, but he reclaims the lead, and that is definitely a win for the 128. He puts about 0.8 of a second on Tonlo over the course of the pit stops. Tonlo was a full second slower down pit lane. That is where that time was lost. Lots of LMPs on pit road now. Erko, Dan, Nick, Rocky, Orbits, Greg, all on pit lane. And we have MBR and Void still on track. Oh, Dan does beat Erko out. That was very close, very, very close. But Dan does preserve that position. MBR, a little bit of lap traffic in front of him. That is Erko's teammate at Bong Life Racing, DCR. Now does MBR try to stretch this one more lap? Number 10 comes around the final corner. He is on the pit road. Does Void do the same? And there he goes. So the leaders on pit road now. That gap was about 7 seconds before they came into pit lane. Let's see if any of these LMPs took tires. Not seeing any who might have. Let's see what MBR does on pit road here. Both of them stopped in their stalls. Erko and Dan coming around the track now. And at this point, every car on the track has pitted. This pit cycle is over. Waiting to see which one of these two comes off pit lane first. It'll probably be MBR, but what will the gap be? There he goes, out of his stall. Slightly below average on the pit stop time. And Void is going to get a 33, not much faster of a stop. And I don't think that gap is going to change all that much as he comes off pit lane. 7.7 seconds off the leader. Let's look at the battle for 6th and the LMPs. Rocky passed Orbits at some point. Not sure if it was during pit stops or organically on the track. But now these two are in a battle for 6th position. Orbits has had a little bit more pace than Rocky over the course of this race. Rocky's been able to stick with him and has given him a lot of trouble throughout. Erko just got past Dan, and that is quite a gap that they have opened up now. Let's see if I can find where Erko got past him. We'll take a look at that replay here real quick. Here it is, the pass for 3rd position. The 33 going on the inside, and that is a very nice overtake. Finishes it right there, and he is back in 3rd for the first time since early in this race. Trying to put a little bit of a gap between him and Dan. Currently playing the spoiler for Void and Dan and Art Send It, trying to keep them from getting that double podium. Looking at Void right now, he's just gone around Ace in the GTE field, and now that's the 93 of K Smithers that he is passing. Checking to see if there's any other big battles going on. Biker Pilot currently has a 1.9 second gap over R Tups. Nonavan, his gap over Tonlo is still about 1.5 seconds. So they are running very, very close lap times here. But let's see if we can get their lap times on the board now. Look at lap 16 and lap 20. Very close. But overall, it's Nonavan that has the slight advantage there. And, I mean, look at how much that delta has changed. Ignoring that one lap where they were in pit road. No change in that delta whatsoever. I've never seen this graph be this straight. Looks like we've settled down into a rhythm here at Sebring. MBR leads the LMP field. Nonavan leads the GTE field. The sun has set, and we're about to go full dark here in Florida. We will be right back for the last 50 minutes of this race. Stay tuned. We're back here at Sebring. MBR still leads the LMP field, and Nonavan still leads the GTEs. And their gaps are still pretty similar. Void gaining a little bit on MBR. Onlo has put a couple tenths on Nonavan, but overall, very similar to how we left them. Let's check in on the battle for 5th in the GTE fields. Looking at Bob Nova in the 31, and that is Bay in the number 28. I believe this is the closest battle on the track right now. 0.6 of a second separate the Ferrari and the Porsche. And as you can see, it has gotten very dark here at Sebring. It is, since the sun has fallen, darkness has come with it very, very quickly. We'll take a look at Sunset Bend here, and you can't see through the haze that much at all anymore. Not pitch black darkness, but darkness all the same. Very soon it will be pitch black. Not very many lights around this track aside from the front stretch. So it will be just the headlights to guide these drivers as they continue around this course. Eat My Dust has just gotten around Rocky over the last couple of laps for 7th in the LMP field, and I think something may have happened to Rocky because he was much further up there with Orbits. Let's see what happened to the number 22 here. He's running just behind Orbits, goes really wide. And I think that is it. Doesn't look like anything else happened to him. He had just fallen that far off of Orbits. He does have a chance to come back at Eat My Dust here, though. This is the closest battle on track. The battle for 6th between, or I'm sorry, the battle for 7th between Eat My Dust and Rocky, and then you have the battle for 5th in the GTE field between Bob Nova and Bay. And Bay has gotten very close to the number 31. Let's go on board with Bay, get an idea of just how dark it is getting. Move right here. Sunset Bend, can he get it? Usually you see these guys on the inside, they were able to finish it off. And he does make the pass and jump into the top 5. And Bob is able to come back at him here though. He's not going to defend, so Bob will have the inside going into turn 1. Very shallow. And he's not going to be able to do it. Has to back out of the accelerator too much. And that is Bob back in the 6th. MBR's gap to Void still holds at 7.2 seconds. And Erko and Dan are 17 and 19 seconds back respectively. Erko's put a little bit of time on Dan since he got around him, a full 2 seconds. Definitely has been a bit faster in recent laps. We take a look at these last few lap times. Consistently a few tenths faster than Dan. And there's a couple laps where he's been quite a bit faster. Back in the 5th position, you see Nicolator running about the same pace as Orbits. Maybe a little bit faster most often. He has been in 5th for most of this race, doing a good job supporting his teammate and holding on to a top 5 himself. Showing good pace over the rest of the LMP field, even though he is a little bit alone right now in this one. Now it looks like we've had an incident with Sector, the lone Ford in the GTE field. Let's see what happens to him here. Well, maybe a little deep in the corner, and a full spin is his reward for that. Oh, and he's parked it there to get spun around. Luckily, no one else was coming up. He continues on racing. Looks like a lot of bullets also ran into trouble. He is running in 9th now. Here he is coming off of turn number 1. And I'm not sure we've seen someone go off here yet. Oh, catches the grass, spins it, locks it. And that is, I believe, Airco going by, having to avoid that. A lot of bullets, another spin, but able to keep it on track and no damage. Continues on in 9th. He did not even lose position from that. Just lost a lot of ground on Mystery Lane. Rocky just got past Eat My Dust for 7th position in the LMP field, and I believe that was because Eat My Dust had a little bit of a moment. So let's look at what happened in number 24. Oh, we've seen so many people do this. It's a rough portion of the track, and seeing these cars just whip around like that is crazy. He loses that position. He's back in 8th as a result. Rocky with Mach B Motorsports now in 7th, and a good showing for him so far today. Had a couple of battles and has been able to come out on top more often than not. Let's look back at what's going on in the GTE field here. Donovan, whoa, goes really off track there. He has lost a bit of ground to Tonlo over the course of this stint thus far. If you look at this gap, slowly but surely it is decreasing. In their most recent lap times, lap 23, Tonlo was slower, but every other lap he has been putting a little bit of time on that number 128 of Donovan. Meanwhile, Tonlo, oh yeah, he's running much faster than Captain, so the battle for the lead is definitely between these two, Donovan and Tonlo. And it has now gotten very, very dark to the point where we can really only see the number boxes on the sides of these cars when headlights are not illuminating them. We'll try and keep the camera close for points where we're just looking at these cars here. So Tonlo looking a little slow on this lap. It slipped to 1.2 seconds. We're going to jump back to 9th. This is a lot of bullets, and behind him is Mike Costello as they cross the start-finish now. That's the number 1 car of Void trying to go around them. This may slow a lot of bullets down and let Mike Costello in. It is now a 0.3 of a second gap. Very, very close, but Costello is going to lose a bit of that time going through turns 3 through 5. On the Big Bend is now a 0.7 of a second gap. Let's check out Sector and McMurk here. McMurk is 0.8 of a second back from the Ford. Now 9 coming out of turn number 1. Let's go through that LMP field while there's not much going on. And actually, let's check in on Rocky. Rocky just went off track. He is still ahead of Eat My Dust, and it's actually right behind Orbit's Jupiter. Just 0.5 of a second off. Let's see where he went off track here. Maybe a little bit wide in turn 1. Oh, what a save! That is very dicey. He is pushing it to try and catch up to Orbit's. They go around Tonlo, coming up onto Donovan. This is going to slow down Donovan a little bit. And Rocky is now right up on the bumper of Orbit's, very close to contact there. I cannot believe they did not touch, and that would have been disastrous for the GTE leaders. That would have been right in front of them. Oh, and he's compromised by a GTE car there, and now falls back to 1.1 seconds. Let's jump over to the GTEs, because this traffic has given Tonlo a good bit of ground. They gained on Donovan. That's now just a 0.5 second gap. "54 minutes into this one. We are probably about 15 minutes from the next round of pit stops and the final round of pit stops. We may again see pit stops come into play for these top 2 cars. Last time around, Tonlo spent a second longer on pit road, and that was the difference. He pitted a lap earlier, but it didn't really matter. Undercut, overcut, he just lost the time on pit road. So he needs to ace the pit stops this time if he wants to get around Donovan for the lead. Focusing on the GTEs quite a bit here. There isn't much going on in the LMPs. They're all pretty spread out, as you can see by the track map. The closest two LMPs are Orbits and Rocky. Rocky currently is not close enough to make a move on Orbits as of yet. Conlo's very much in the slipstream of Donovan now. So down the Ullman straight and the front straight, he will get a good bit of ground gained on the leader. Back through the LMP field, as we were talking about that. Actually, AJ just went off track. He may have just pushed this wide. We're going to take a look at it anyway. Great to see these drivers pushing absolute limits. Maybe that's a little bit too much the limits. Climbing over that curb, and that is a very steep curb. Very rough in the car to do that for sure. Mystery Lane has just passed JWL, who has gone into pits. And he pitted early, so I believe that's just a scheduled pit stop for him, which is why he was ahead of a lot of these guys. Now, 35 minutes left. He should be able to push that to the end, which will be very interesting. He could still make a pretty good recovery here and finish in the top 10. Keep My Dust is coming down pit lane. First LMP of this cycle. Don't see a reason for him to be coming down early. So this may just be a scheduled pit stop. A couple of GTs in pit lane right now. I believe yeah, those are back markers. They're just off schedule pit stops. Let's look at these GTE leaders again, because now Tonlo is right on Donovan's tail, and it would be quite a win if he could get ahead of him before these pit stops start. Give himself a little bit of a cushion, just in case he loses that time on pit road. He is right on the rear bumper right there. Wow, that is close. Oh, and he is going to go to the left side, hanging a hairpin. They may have touched there. Oh, he's going to have him. Still side by side. Coming around turn 8 into turn 9. Tonlo is still there for the next turn. A sharp right-hander, Cunningham. Donovan's going to have the advantage. Tonlo may have the crossover here. Let's see if he can get him. Coming up in the tower. Donovan's blocking it off. Defending right. Tonlo has nothing to do, but he might have a better run coming out of this corner, and it's quite a long drive down to turns 14 and 15. He's right there. Is he going to make a move? He looks right. No, he's not going to be able to do it. Now, through Le Mans, onto the Ullman straight. And he's going to look left. And, oh, wow, Donovan had a really bad run coming out of that corner. So Tonlo into the lead just before pit stop start. That is huge. Huge for Tonlo. That is a sizable gap now, over a full second. Let's go back and see exactly what happened to Donovan. I'm not sure what exactly happens to the 128. Let's go on board with him through this corner. Oh, does he downshifts? It looks like if you look at his shifts right here, he goes third gear, fourth gear, third gear, and then back into fourth. So a huge mistake. And now it is Tonlo in the lead by 1.3 seconds. Captain and AJ are both on pit road for the GTE field. Captain coming out now. So these guys starting this round of pit stops for the field. Captain out of the pits. AJ leaving the pits as well. And Rocky is on pit lane for the LMPs. He's the first one of this stint to come in. Let's take a look at where those LMPs are in terms of pit strategy. MBR and Void are the only two drivers who were able to push it to lap 21. Everyone else came in on lap 20. So expect them to be on the same strategy here coming around on this stint. And oh no, Eat My Dust has had something happen to him. He is now running in 10th. Let's go back and take a look at this replay. Working through some lap traffic in the GTEs. Oh no! Underestimates how slow the GTE is going through that section. Has to hit the brakes hard. And he is spun around. Doesn't lose any positions, but definitely slows him down quite a bit. McMurk and DC are on pit lane. McMurk for the GTEs and DC for the LMPs. There's DC on pit lane right there. McMurk has left his pit stall. Nobody else coming down pit road yet. None of the LMP leaders yet have even thought about it. MBR now has a 10.5 second gap over Void. Absolutely dominating this class thus far. If we look back at the GTEs, Tom Lowe has extended his lead to 1.4 seconds. That is a very nice cushion heading into the pit window. Even if he lost a second on pit lane like he did last time, he would still have the lead. Only just, but he would still have the lead. Oh, and JWL has run into even more trouble. He has had some sort of incident. Let's see here. Going into the corner. Oh, he loses it coming out and right into the tire barrier. That's probably not going to cause any damage. Very soft. But still, it's another incident for JWL. Not a very good day for him thus far. He runs in 10th. His chances at gaining more positions may have been thrown away right there. Let's check in on Erko. He has a 2.4 second lead over Dan for that last podium spot. Doesn't look like that gap is shortening anytime soon. Let's see how that gap has been acting recently. Dan had one lap faster than Erko, but other than that, it's been pretty much Erko pulling away from Dan here. That is now a 4.1 second gap. Not sure if something happened to Dan, but that is definitely quite a lead that Erko has now. Let's look at the LMP field before we go through the pit stops. MBR in first, Void second, Erko is third, and Dan is fourth. Nicolator running in fifth, all his lonesome. Then it's Orbits in sixth. He needs to worry about Rocky, who is in eighth. Rocky pitted early on this stint, maybe trying to go for an undercut on Orbits. In between them right now is Greg. The number 13, he's running 7th, and it's Eat My Dust, Crazy Sheep, DCR. We're cutting through these cars like you can see them as we change the camera. You can really only see the numbers on the side. You have Case Smithers in 12th, and then Cannon Racer at the bottom of the LMP field, 13th. So that's the LMPs so far today. The LMP is very tough to get around here. Sebring, very rough track, extremely bumpy. And something has happened to McMurk on track. Looks like he is going again. He had some kind of trouble here. Oh, he just goes off. We've seen that corner claim so many people today. And there, he just goes completely wide. Oh, it's a very long trip back on track. Extremely long. Taking lots of care. Not getting anyone else's way. But you're seeing a lot of drivers struggle in these braking zones. Sebring is just a very bumpy, old, rough track. The LMP cars, we gotta watch out for floor damage on the tall curbs on some of these corners. The GTE cars, they're pretty unstable under braking. We've seen a lot of them just lose it coming through some of these corners. It's a tough track, and now it's nighttime. Some of your brake markers that you would use in the daylight are gone or harder to see. Got headlights flashing around, those can be a distraction. It's just very tough. And now Sector is off track. That Ford has gone around again, and that tower corner continues to claim lives. This turn 13 tower, this is where everyone's been going off today. And I mean, we've seen at least 10 offs here that we've gone back and looked at. I'm sure there have been even more that we haven't looked at. Crazy Sheep just went off right in front of Nicolator. A couple cars here he this in front of. Going really wide there, hard into the tire barrier. He is safely off track, not in the way of any of these guys. Goes Nick right there. That tire barrier is getting worked over today. We haven't seen anyone else come down pit road, so we have those early pit stops, but then nothing really. But we're still waiting. Fuel-wise, they can probably push it another 10 minutes if they want. The LMPs, not the GTE. GTEs will have to come in a little bit sooner. Let's go through that GTE field right now. So Tom Lowe still holding the lead, but is now only 9/10 of a second gap. So Donovan still keeping close, heading into the pit window. Donovan in second. These two have traded the lead all day. Donovan led for a good portion of that first 50 minutes or so. And now Tom Lowe is back in the lead. Bay is currently the last car on the podium in third. He's benefited from a couple of guys crashing out. JWL, Slug, a lot of bullets, but great AJ as well. Captain has also pitted. Do I see? Captain is in fifth. So Captain is probably actually in this last podium spot, but for now, Bay is running here. Bob is in fourth. A great drive from him thus far. Captain, there he is in the fifth position. Mike Costello's come down pit lane now. Here's AJ running in sixth, and a lot of bullets in seventh. None of these guys particularly close to each other. JWL, despite all the troubles he's had today, still runs in eighth. So solid run from him despite the issues that he has had thus far today. A quick note about the points. That as we go further down this GTE field, sectors down pit road as well. Currently, Ace is in 14th, Bikers in 15th. From 15th on down to 20th, everyone gets the same amount of points. Everyone gets 20 points. And then once you go below 20th, everyone's getting 15 points, assuming they finish enough laps and finish the race. So 15th is a cutoff, very much. But you can almost consider running in 14th. You're running in the points. You're getting some extra points there. And if you are behind 20th position, you're really not getting that many points at all, especially if you don't finish. So quite a few GTEs coming onto pit road now. Looks like Sector's getting new tires. You're looking at Bay right now in front of him. He does not go for tires. He is out of the pits. He will come out in most likely 5th, as Bob does come down the pits. A lot of bullets on pit road as well. Captain and AJ have both already pitted, so they're back into 3rd and 4th. 2 leaders have yet to pit. Here's Tom Lowe. He's extended that lead back to, oh, quite a big lead. It's almost 1.6 seconds. And Nodovin's going to go for the undercut here. He's pitting first. Expect Tom Lowe to react to this on the next lap. He kind of has to do this. He's losing ground. He's got to do what he can to try and catch the 04 here. Into his pit stall now. Now we watch Tom Lowe. This has got to be a blazing fast lap if he's going to come into pit this time. Donovan is out of the pits now. Rocky is passing Greg for 7th in the LMP field. And Orbitz, I believe, still has not pitted. Well, nobody in the top 6 of the LMPs has pitted yet. Rocky had an early pit, so that is why he's all the way back there. Checking in on Tom Lowe. He is still only just halfway through this lap. Still a lot of time to go. Not seeing anyone else come down pit lane yet. Donovan left pit road. Artup's left pit road. So we're going to stay focused in on Tom Lowe. We're going to go on board with him as he finishes up this lap. And here he comes. Will he go into pit lane? Keeping it to the right. And yes, he does go down pit road. He does respond. So here we go. Donovan spent 46.2 seconds on pit road. So how long is Tom Lowe going to spend on pit lane? Here we go. The 04 coming into his pit stall now. And it looks like he is in there cleanly. Now we wait. Donovan coming around the sunset bend now. This is going to be close. Tom Lowe's been on pit road for 36 seconds now. He is out of his pits. His pit stop was 2 seconds faster than Donovan's. He's out of pit lane, and Donovan is quite a ways down the road. That gap is now going to be 3 seconds. And that is huge for the 04 car. Donovan's pit stop was just almost 2 seconds slower for some reason. His pit crew lets him down. And as a result, he may be out of the running in terms of winning this race. Very much still on the podium. Very much in a good spot and have run a great race thus far. We'll have to hope Tom Lowe maybe runs into some traffic or gets caught up in something if he wants a chance at the win at this point. We'll see. 17 minutes left. Lots of time for something to happen. Now that we have cycled through pit stops for the GTEs, the LMPs are next. And Erko is on pit road. First member of Bong Life to come down into pit lane. The rest of the leaders in the top 6 have not pitted yet. You have Rocky sitting there in 7th. He's the first LMP that has pitted. MBR is currently on turn 10. And then you have Void, 12.9 seconds back. Coming up into turn 10 just now. Erko coming out of the pits. So when will these top 4 guys pit? And Dan's pit stop, I want to take a look at how well that goes. Maybe he can make up some ground on Erko. Let's see how Erko's pit stop went. He spent 48 seconds on pit road, only 17 seconds in his pit stall, which tells me that all these LMP cars did take tires on their first stop, because their first stop was about 32, 33 seconds. So 48.85 is the mark to beat for Dan if he wants to gain any time on Erko. And these guys are coming around now. MBR stays out. Boyd looks like he's going to stay out. Yes, he does. So now we're looking at Dan. Comes around the final corner, and he is going to go down pit road. So here we go. It's the response to Erko. How much faster can he be on pit lane? Greg has taken his pit stop. That promotes Rocky into 7th. No other LMPs coming down pit road yet. And now here we go. Nicolator is on pit lane. No major mistakes from him here, and he can easily bring home a top 5 for Nick Squared. Orbits is on pit road as well. We're going to keep an eye on his time versus Rocky's time. Rocky spent 49.8 seconds on pit lane. Probably not what you want. But if Orbit spins any longer on pit lane, then he could lose some ground, maybe even lose the position to Rocky. It was a very close fight for the 6th position before this pit window opened. Here comes MBR right now. Inside of 14 minutes left in this race. Will he pit here? Yes. Coming down pit road, pushing the fuel load to its absolute limit. Orbit's Jupiter is off pit road, was definitely a bit faster than Rocky. And he is now good. Let's see where this gap ends up. 6.5 seconds ahead of Rocky, solidly in 6th position. Void now takes the lead as MBR pulls onto pit road, but Void does not. He's going to go an extra lap. Here's a look at where the pit strategy is for these LMP drivers so far. See how early Rocky's pit stop there was. Erko has taken his pit stop. MBR on pit road right now. So Void and Dan are the 2 on that list that have not pitted as of yet. Void working through a little bit of traffic here. That's one of the rookie mistake cars, I believe. BR is back out on track, and he does have a clear track. No traffic ahead of him. Erko running in 3rd, a 1.6 second gap over Dan. That has shrunk as Dan has gone through pit lane, and he was a bit faster on pit road. The 1.7 second gap now. If he can find the pace, he does have a shot at catching Erko before this one's over. But he'll have to find that pace pretty quick. Greg has had an incident and has gone completely off track. And that is at Cunningham, turn number 10. Done quite a bit of trouble there. Check back in on Void. Surely he has to pit this lap. Yes, he is coming down pit road, and this will hand the lead back to MBR for what is most likely the final time today. Let's check back in on the GTE field. This gap has not really changed. Notovin has lost maybe about a half second on Tonlo after the end of pit stop, so Tonlo very solidly in 1st. After Notovin led most of the race, looks like Tonlo may end up coming away with a victory here. Checking back in third, Captain very solidly this last podium spot. AJ is 6.4 seconds behind him. Not sure that's much of a threat, as the LMP leader, NBR, going to go around him right now. And Bay is about 6 seconds back from AJ. It may be a bit of a big ask for him to catch AJ, and kind of respect at this point. Crazy Sheep is on pit road. That promotes DCR into 10th. And Void finished his pit stop, giving NBR back the lead. With 10 minutes to go, we're going to take a short break here at Sebring, and then we will be back for the finale of the very first race. We're going to take a moment to look at Captain, actually. He may lose this final podium spot as he has gone off track at Tower, and now AJ is right on his tail. We're going to take a hold on that break, actually, because now AJ is just 0.2 of a second behind Captain. A huge mistake from the Mach B Motorsport Porsche. And now AJ has a chance to steal this podium position. They're going to have a little bit of lap traffic in front of him. That BMW, I believe that is Kelford. It's either Kelford or Roommeister. Captain going on the inside here. They go through Sunset. Both of them are going to get by the lap traffic. Here comes the number 1 LMP of Void. He's going to be able to easily get by AJ and I believe Captain as well. Yes, he will not influence this battle. So Captain has a bit of a shallow line going into turn 1 there. AJ taking it wide. That is now a 0.4 of a second gap. Let's go on board with AJ. Very close inside that half a second gap. The issue for Captain at this point is that AJ is now well within the slipstream, and even if he makes a couple of mistakes in the corners, down the Ullman straight and the front straight and a couple of these other longer bits of track, he can use the slipstream to very much keep up with Captain and stay within striking distance. We're now going to go back and take a look at a couple of things here. We're going to take a look at what happened with Captain. Running behind that 420, that is Kelford. Oh, he just goes really wide into Cunningham. Maybe lost track of where the track was or what. And then Rocky went off track as well a bit earlier. He just goes really wide, completely around. He doesn't lose any positions from this, but backing up onto the track. I believe that's right in front of Nodovan. That could have been dangerous. AJ still a half second behind Captain. So, oh no, Orbit's Jupiter's gone off track now. This may let Rocky back into the battle for 6th. Oh, I'm not seeing that interval drop. Rocky may have lost quite a bit more time than I thought. Is this the same corner that Rocky lost it at? This is just a spin. This is a Tower. It's crazy how many people we've seen do that at this corner so far today. It's now just a 10-second gap back to Rocky. And Lieutenant Dan has closed this gap to Erko. He's working through some GTE traffic. That's actually Captain and AJ there. And Erko only just now gets by Captain, but Dan has quite a good run here. Now this is just a less than half a second gap. We're gonna have two big battles here. The battle for the final podium position in both classes going on right now. AJ is right on Captain's tail end. Coming through Bishop. They're looking for something. Can't get it yet. Needs to get a good run out of Lamar. He gets it. He's got a really good run here. He's cut already over a tenth of his gap off, but I don't believe it's going to be any more than that here. Coming around the Sunset Bend, and that gap is holding. 3/10 of a second, 2/10 of a second maybe. Oh, it's going to be tight. AJ's looking to the right. Captain is actually defending on the inside. Can AJ get him on the crossover here? No, he's able to keep AJ behind him. Let's check back in on Erko and Dan. This is also less than 3/10 of a second gap. Still working through lap traffic. They now no longer have any GTE lap traffic ahead of them for quite a while. They may not run into any more of it. And MBR just had to go off track to avoid a GTE, I believe. Oh no, he just spun directly in front of Nodovan. MBR completely spun. This slows up Nodovan as well. We're going to go back live here. Something must have happened to Void because Erko is now very close to Void. Nodovan still holds a very large lead over Captain. Trying to sort this out. Void did go off track at some point. Oh, did he and Jordan have it coming together? Let's see. There's Jordan Beck lapped. Oh no, he just misjudged it. And they're both into the wall. And with MBR's incident, Void could have easily caught him and won the race. What a massive loss there. And now Erko is around Void, and Lieutenant Dan is around Void. Void completely out of the podium positions with the damage to that LMP. He just has no pace going down these front straights, and he has to watch his teammate and Erko pull away with second and third. What a turn of events here. Captain still holding on to that third position in the GTE class. Erko has now been promoted to second position in the LMPs. We'll go back and take a look at this pass, but I believe it was just Void not having the pace down the straightaway. And yes, look at how much slower he is. Look at how far behind Dan is. And then Dan has passed him by the time they get to the end of the straightaway. That damage, that aero damage is crazy. And was that Tonlo that they just forced wide, or was that Ace? No, that was Ace, Tonlo's teammate there. So Erko, this is now a 1 second gap over Dan. In very good position to bring home second place. We're gonna go back to Captain and AJ here. There's only 2 minutes left in this race. If you are MBR, you are breathing a massive, massive sigh of relief that Void wrecked when he wrecked. Both of them wrecked on the same lap, and MBR lost enough time that Void would have passed him and won this race, but instead he ends up, that is some incredible luck. He is going to end up being able to hold on to this lead, and I'm not sure if he was just shown the white flag. I don't believe that he was. See if we can see these guys waving the white flag as they come around. We're going to go on board with Void and see if he is seeing anything like that. They are waving the white flag, so this is it. MBR is on his final lap. And this is AJ's last chance to get Captain. They're coming around the final corner, and he will have 1 lap to do it. Meanwhile, MBR coming up into Cunningham, he just needs to have 1 mistake-free lap. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Dan right on the backside of Erko. This is a very close battle. He's made up that ground. It was a second gap just a couple laps ago. Erko a little slow out of that corner. Comes back at him. Dan, right on the rear bumper, looking right, coming into Cunningham. He has him on the inside, looking for second position. And he has to back out of it there. So Erko still ahead. Jumping back to Captain and AJ. AJ still behind Captain as they go into hairpin. Here come Erko and Dan working their way through Bishop. If Dan gets a good run off of Lamar, he will have the slipstream and a good chance going through the sunset bend one last time. MBR comes off the final corner and wins the first event of the J2i Endurance season. Erko defending Dan. They're going to be side by side on the final lap, on the final corner. Here they come. It is Dan ahead, and he is far ahead. Erko going to try and go over the crossover, but I don't think he's got it. Oh, he might. He might. He's coming back at him. Here they come down the front stretch. Dan gets him. Finishes second place. Erko's third. Void's going to be fourth. Let's jump back to Captain and AJ. They're coming out of Lamar right now. AJ gets a pretty good run out of Lamar. He has got to catch Captain by the end of this straight. He's trying to break the slipstream. 0.3 of a second. Coming down to 0.2 of a second. Round the final corner. And Captain is going to hold off AJ and get that final podium position for the GTE field. Meanwhile, Tom Lowe comes home first and wins the GTE class in the very first race of the season there alongside his teammate Ace. Nodovan ends up in second position after a grueling race. Those two very tough battles. Void finishes fourth in the LMP class, then Nicolator fifth, Orbit sixth, Rocky seventh, My Dust eighth, Greg and DCR round out the top 10. Then the GTEs, Tonlo, Nodovan, Captain, AJ, Bay, Bob, JWL, a lot of bullets, Long Nerd and Sector. That's your top 10 there. An absolutely wild finish here at Sebring. Always something to look for at the end of these endurance races. MBR taking a bit of a victory lap here, as he should. A well-earned victory, almost mistake-free until the very last couple of laps there. Bringing home the victory for the Nick Squared team. His teammate Nick ends up in 5th position. Great day from them. The only other team that really matches them is Arc Send It. There you have Dan and Void finishing 2nd and 4th. And here are the victory donuts from MBR. Erko passing by, giving him his congratulations, and they get a little love tap there. Dan also hanging out there. The podium finishers having a little party on the front stretch. We're going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we'll have some interviews with the top drivers from this race. Stay tuned. MBR, Tonlo, win at Sebring. We are back here at Sebring. A crazy finale to this race. MBR and Tonlo both coming away with victories here. And now we're about to speak to the winner of the LMP class of today's race. From Nick Squared, this is MBR Racing. You had a bit of a moment there in the last few laps. I don't know if Void crashed before or after you, but what was going through your head immediately after the crash?
Well, immediately after, I'm thinking to myself, why in the world did I do that? It's kind of a soiled win, it feels like, just because I'm looking at the replay now, and that was such a close GTE race, the whole hour and a half, and for no reason at all, I decided to make that pass. I didn't have to, because Void had an incident before that, so I really just had to cruise on home, and I feel really bad for ruining the GTE race there, and Notavin. I don't know how to say it exactly, but I feel very bad about that move. So it's good to get the LMP2 win. Cool to get the win on the first night out, but kind of soiled a little bit because I ruined that other race that was going on.
Do you feel, after the first couple laps, did you feel any sort of pressure from any of the guys in the back at any point? Did you feel like they were possibly going to start outpacing you, or maybe traffic would hold you up? It seemed like you were in control for quite a bit of the race.
Yeah, I was trying to manage the gap to Void for a while, and he was, I mean, maybe a tenth per lap, but he was definitely closing in. So I was trying to hit my marks and um, get past the GTEs as quick as I could, as clean as I could, and for the most part, it went well. Um, and I think, yeah, I don't know what happened to him, but being clean paid off tonight.
Well, it was a great race from you, a dominating victory, and I'm excited to see what you do next week in the Sprint Series, as well as when we come back in 2 weeks for the Endurance Series.
All right, thank you so much.
Great talking to you.
See ya.
That was MBR. Great drive from him, a dominating victory. Now we are going to speak to the other winner today. Winner of the GTE field, it is Tonlo of BDS Racing. Tonlo, that was a nail biter. When you were following Notavin for most of the race, were you on similar pace, or were you trying to conserve your tires?
Uh, Actually, I was on similar pace. Me and him had roughly the same pace, but he seemed to have a little bit less downforce to me. So when I would get behind him, I could gain no time on him in the straights. So I just figured I would sit behind him and try and fuel save. But I'm not sure what happened because after I came out of the pits after my first stint, he was almost 2 seconds ahead of me. So my last lap before my pit must have been a little slow though.
And the battle for the lead there, it seemed imperative that you get by him before the next round of pit stops. And after you came out, you had quite a lead on him. Was there any at any point, a time after that last pit stop, that you felt pressure or ran into some traffic? You were afraid he was going to catch you up?
There was a point on the last stint that I had that I got caught up around some traffic, and he gained back a little bit over a second on me. But that wasn't too bad. But it was really important to try and get ahead of him. He had pretty much the same pace I did, and then I wasn't able to catch him in the straight, so I had to figure out something in the corners. And so I just got as close as I could and put some pressure on him. And I think he got a slowdown coming into the back straight, and that was what put me ahead. So, because other than that, I do not know if I would have got past him because um, he was just so much faster in a straight line.
It is interesting that you think it was a slowdown. So, because on the stream it looked like he had accidentally downshifted, but he had gone off track in front of you.
He didn't really go off track. It was in those little chicanes right before the back straight, and I thought I thought it might have been plausible for him to have cut the last little corner a little tight, because if you cut that a little tight, you will get a slowdown and an unforgiving one as well. So that's what I thought, because I was about to get behind him on the slipstream, and I almost ran to the back of him because he slowed down so much. But I'm not sure exactly what he had.
Well, a great race from you and a very convincing victory. Excited to see what you do over the next couple of races in both the Sprint Series and the Endurance Series.
All right, appreciate it.
You have a good one.
You too.
All right. It looks like that pretty much does it for us here at Sebring. From everyone at J2i, it has been an absolute pleasure. 90 minutes of non-stop action. And we're going to come back and do it all again in just 1 week for the Sprint Series. Congratulations to MBR Racing and Tom Lowe for their victories today. The Sprint Series comes to Sebring 1 week from now to do it all over again. See you then.